You know that feeling when you're genuinely trying to enjoy yourself and someone around you decides that reality is negotiable? Well, prepare yourself, because what you're about to witness is a catalog of human expectations so divorced from how the world actually works that you'll question whether these people have ever experienced disappointment before. This is a countdown of 63 vacation complaints that were solved by literally nothing, changed by absolutely no one, and yet somehow still managed to ruin trips. Let's begin. Number 1. Someone arrived at a beachside resort in the Caribbean during hurricane season and complained that the weather was too wet. The calendar said August. The region is called the Atlantic Hurricane Belt. But apparently, the resort was supposed to have purchased different weather from a different planet. They demanded a refund. The resort offered to move them to the pool area inside. They left a 1-star review. Number 2. A tourist in New York City complained that there were too many people on the sidewalks. In Manhattan, in July, during summer vacation season, they seemed genuinely shocked that a city of 9 million people would have foot traffic. They asked the hotel concierge if the city could schedule fewer pedestrians during their stay. When told no, they were offended by the lack of customer service. Numbers 3. A family booked an all-inclusive resort and then complained that the all-inclusive amenities didn't include premium alcohol brands they preferred. The minibar had regular scotch, not rare scotch. The buffet had decent wine, not expensive wine. For a package they paid one flat rate for, they expected a la carte treatment. Have you ever seen someone negotiate the meaning of included with the universe itself? Number 4. A guest at a mountain lodge complained that the view of the mountains was blocked by, and I say this with complete seriousness, mountains. Bigger mountains were in the way of the slightly smaller mountains they'd paid to see. They demanded a room with a cleaner view. Elevation exists. Physics happened before they arrived. Number 5. Someone spent 2 weeks in Japan and complained that not enough people spoke English fluently. In Japan, a country with its own language that has existed for centuries, the locals simply hadn't learned English well enough to accommodate this single tourist. They expected the entire nation to have adjusted its entire education system for their 1-week visit. Somehow, they felt victimized. Number 6. A visitor to the Grand Canyon complained that it was too big. Not that the hike was too long or the sun too hot, but the canyon itself was too expansive and made them feel small. They asked the hotel if there was a smaller, more intimate canyon somewhere nearby. Ma'am, it's the Grand Canyon. It's grand specifically because it's grand. Number 7. An overseas traveler complained that the local food wasn't as good as the chain restaurants back home. They came to Thailand and ate at McDonald's 3 times. Then they left a review saying the authentic cuisine was overrated. The restaurant didn't change, neither did their palate. Their expectations simply had nothing to do with what they'd actually chosen to experience. Number 8. Someone booked a jungle resort with no cell service and then called the front desk every hour to complain about the lack of cell service. The amenity list specifically said disconnect from the grid. They'd paid extra for that. Somehow they were surprised that disconnection meant disconnected. And somehow they felt wronged by mathematics. Number 9. A cruise passenger complained that the ocean was too salty. I want you to sit with that one for a moment. They boarded a ship that floats on salt water, stayed on that ship for 7 days, and expressed shock that salt water tastes like salt. They asked if the cruise line could freshen up the ocean. The crew politely explained that they do not control the chemical composition of the Atlantic. Number 10. A guest at a luxury ski resort complained that the snow was too cold. Not the building, not the lodge, the snow. They went to a ski resort in February in the Swiss Alps and expected warm snow. When told that snow is frozen water and therefore cold, they insisted the resort had lower quality snow than competitors and demanded compensation. The snow did not negotiate. Number 11. Someone booked a budget airline and complained that there was no meal service. The ticket cost $40. The airline has never served meals on any flight ever, but this person felt attacked by the absence of a sandwich they'd never paid for. They left a 1-star review saying the experience was disappointing and cheap. Correct on both counts. That was the deal. Number 12. A couple at an all-you-can-eat buffet complained that the buffet wasn't all-you-can-eat because there was a line to get more food. They had to wait 5 minutes between trips. The offense was the line's mere existence, as if unlimited quantity comes with unlimited instant access to unlimited quantity. They wanted to be the only people at the buffet, at an all-you-can-eat buffet. During lunch rush. Number 13. A tourist in London complained that Big Ben was too busy with other tourists. They wanted a quiet moment with Big Ben, alone, the most famous clock tower in the world, at noon, on a Tuesday in June. They seemed to think they could call ahead and have the tower reserved. The tower did not return their call. Number 14. Someone booked a safari in Kenya and complained that the animals were too far away. The lodge was supposed to bring the lions closer without, I assume, the lions noticing they were being transported. Or possibly they wanted the lions to simply stand near their window on command. When the guide explained that animals have autonomy, they felt the safari was under-sectioning the experience. Number 15. A visitor to a hot spring in Iceland complained that the water was too warm. This was a hot spring. Its entire purpose is warmth. They expected a warm spring that was actually cold. The fact that they came to a location called a hot spring while hoping for cool water suggests a failure in both literacy and expectations. They demanded a refund because the spring was misleadingly named. Number 16. Someone at a beach resort complained that sand was getting in their room. They were in a beach room. The beach is made of sand. Sand is small and travels. This revelation seemed to genuinely upset them. They asked the hotel to keep the sand out. The hotel kept the doors closed. The person complained that the room was too dark. Number 17. A guest at a historic hotel complained that the building felt old. It was a 16th century castle. It was supposed to feel old. That's why it was a castle. They wanted that 16th century authenticity, but with the amenities of a 2024 resort. They complained that the Wi-Fi was weak. In a building built in 1532. Be honest, how did you think that would go? Number 18. Someone booked a waterfall tour and complained that the waterfall was too wet. The mist was getting them damp. Waterfalls produce water. That water becomes mist. Mist is wet. This is the entire operation. They asked if the tour company could reduce the spray. The waterfall offered no comment. Number 19. A couple complained that their romantic dinner reservation in Paris was at 7 p.m. instead of 6 p.m. The restaurant had no 6 p.m. slots available. They booked 7 p.m. months in advance. Then they complained about the time they'd confirmed. They asked the restaurant to push back all subsequent reservations so they could have 6 p.m. The restaurant declined. Number 20. Someone at a music festival complained that the music was too loud. They were at an outdoor music festival. That stage has a sound system specifically designed to be loud. They attended voluntarily. They bought the ticket, they showed up, and then they were shocked that the music occupied the space they were occupying. They complained to security that the bass was disruptive. Number 21. A visitor to a museum in Rome complained that there were too many paintings. The museum's entire function is paintings. They found the number of paintings overwhelming and asked if the museum could reduce the collection for a quieter experience. Museums have walls. Walls go in museums. Paintings go on walls. This is not a design flaw. Number 22. Someone complained that a sunset took too long. They sat on a beach watching a sunset and felt the sunset was stretching on. They wanted it faster. They wanted a quicker sunset. This is where we are. Someone was watching a ball of nuclear fusion sink below the horizon and found the timing inconvenient. The sunset proceeded at its normal speed, completely indifferent. Number 23. A passenger on a long-haul flight complained that the flight was long. They booked a 14-hour flight from Los Angeles to Sydney. Then they acted surprised that it lasted 14 hours. They complained to the flight attendant that this was too long. The flight attendant politely explained that distance and speed exist, and the combination of those two things equals time. The flight still lasted 14 hours. Number 24. Someone at a seafood restaurant complained that the fish tasted like fish. The restaurant is a seafood restaurant. Fish tastes like fish. They seemed to believe they'd found a loophole where seafood could taste like something else. They wanted the flavor of fish without any of the fishness. They left a review saying the menu was too fishy. Yes, correct. You arrived at the right address. Number 25. A guest at a ski resort complained that the ski slopes were too steep. This is somehow getting worse. The slopes were labeled with difficulty ratings. They'd chosen the advanced slope. The slope was advanced. When they had trouble, they complained that the resort oversold the difficulty. The resort had a beginner slope. They'd ignored it and picked the one that said expert. The slope remained at the same angle. Number 26. Someone booked a desert tour and complained that the desert was too sandy. The Sahara is sand. That is the entire resource. When told this, they complained that the tour company had no variety. They wanted a more diverse desert. Possibly they were hoping for some water in the desert. Possibly some trees. The Sahara offered them sand. As promised. Number 27. A tourist complained that a tourist trap was full of tourists. They'd paid to enter a location specifically designed to attract tourists. Then they complained about the tourists. They complained about themselves. They felt other people had ruined their experience by being there. They had also ruined other people's experiences by being there. Nobody benefited. Everyone was equally upset. Number 28. Someone at a hotel complained that the room was too quiet. It was a quiet room. In a quiet hotel, they complained to the front desk that they wanted more ambient noise. The hotel recommended the lounge. They complained the lounge was too social. They wanted isolation with background music. The universe did not provide a room that was alone but not alone. Number 29. A traveler complained that their hotel room had a view of the parking lot. The hotel is surrounded by a parking lot. Gravity pulled their room earthward to the lower floors where parking lots are visible. They complained that they wanted a view of the mountains from the parking lot side of the building, where the parking lot is. Logic was not invited to this conversation. Number 30. Someone booked a camping trip and complained that camping was too much camping. They went camping. Camping involved camping. They were surprised by this. They complained that there were bugs outside, in nature. They complained that the mattress was uncomfortable. In a tent, where comfort and tents are different things. They complained that there was no Wi-Fi in the forest, where electromagnetic signals struggle. Number 31. A cruise passenger complained that the ship was too wet inside the ship. Ocean water, the primary material the ship floats on, occasionally found its way into the interior. This person seemed shocked that a ship in the ocean might experience water. When the crew explained that being on water means being near water, they demanded a refund. The ship continued floating on water. Number 32. Someone at an amusement park complained that the roller coaster was too fast. That's the entire point of a roller coaster. Speed is the service. They complained to the park. The park noted that slower roller coasters exist, but those are what you're supposed to ride if you don't want speed. They complained that the slower coasters were boring. They wanted a slow, fast coaster that went fast and slow simultaneously. Number 33. A hotel guest complained that housekeeping knocked on their door. The guest had left a "Please clean my room" sign, but they didn't want to be disturbed. They wanted magical cleaning that happened while they were simultaneously occupying the room. When housekeeping knocked, they opened the door angry. They complained that knocking was rude. They'd requested the knocking by requesting service. Number 34. Someone complained that their vacation was too expensive. It was expensive. They knew it was expensive. They paid the expensive price. Then they complained about the expensiveness they'd paid for. They asked for a discount retroactively. The vacation company said no. They complained that this was bad customer service. The service was the vacation, which they'd purchased and attended. Number 35. A tourist complained that the tour guide wasn't telepathic. The group had gone to a museum. The guide pointed out paintings and explained them. The tourist wanted the guide to also explain things the tourist hadn't asked about, hadn't mentioned wanting to know, and hadn't given any indication of caring about. When the guide couldn't read minds, the tourist complained the tour was incomplete. The guide had walked through all the rooms. Number 36. Someone at a beach resort complained that the ocean had waves. Waves are water moving. That's what oceans do. They came to the beach to swim. Waves made swimming difficult. They complained to the hotel that the ocean needed to be calmer. The hotel had no control over lunar gravity. Tides continued regardless. Number 37. A traveler complained that their flight was delayed. The delay was caused by bad weather. They seemed to believe the airline could have rerouted the weather. When told that weather exists and sometimes blocks flights, they demanded compensation for nature. The airline had not promised to control meteorological events. They still felt wronged. Number 38. Someone complained that a restaurant was too busy to take walk-in reservations. It's a busy restaurant. Busy restaurants have more people than empty restaurants. When told there was a 2-hour wait, they complained that the restaurant was too popular. They wanted a popular restaurant with no wait. They wanted the amenity of popularity without the social cost. The restaurant had made its choice of which to provide. Number 39. A hotel guest complained that the bed was firm. It's a bed. They chose the room. The bed is firm. They complained to the front desk that the mattress was uncomfortable. Comfort is subjective. Firm is not a defect. It's a characteristic. They demanded a softer mattress. The hotel swapped it. They then complained the new mattress was too soft. Both mattresses had been fine. Number 40. Someone booked a rainforest tour and complained about humidity. A rainforest is wet by design. Wet places have moisture in the air. Moisture is humidity. They brought no preparation for this. They seemed to think a rainforest would be dry. When they arrived and found moisture, they felt deceived. The rainforest remained humid. Their clothes remained wet. Number 41. A restaurant patron complained that the appetizers arrived before the main course. This is how restaurants function. Appetizers are supposed to come first. They're called appetizers. They open the appetite. When their food arrived in the intended order, they complained that service was out of sequence. The restaurant assured them the sequence was correct. They remained convinced otherwise. Number 42. Someone at a resort complained that the pool had chlorine in it. Pools have chlorine. That's how pools stay clean. Without chlorine, the pool becomes a bacterial culture. With chlorine, it smells like chlorine. They complained about the smell. They wanted a pool without chlorine that was also clean. This is not a pool. This is fantasy. The pool remained chlorinated. Number 43. A traveler complained that the airport was far from the city. The airport was exactly where airports are built, at a distance from cities. That's why they're called airports and not downtown squares. When told they could take a train or taxi, they complained that transportation added extra time to the trip. Yes, that's what transportation does. It takes time. That is the service. Number 44. Some booked a mountain cabin and complained that it was at high altitude. Mountains are high. Altitude happens at high elevations. Cabins on mountains are at altitude. They complained of shortness of breath. Their body was not acclimated to lower oxygen. This is physics. They demanded the cabin be relocated to lower altitude. The mountain declined. Number 45. A cruise passenger complained that the ship stopped at ports of call. That's what cruises do. You cruise between ports. You stop at ports. Ports are destinations. When they arrived at a port, they complained there was nothing to do. There were museums, beaches, towns, restaurants, shops, and historical sites. They didn't want to leave the ship. They wanted the ship to stop at a port but let them remain on the ship doing nothing. Have you ever seen someone sabotage themselves so thoroughly? Number 46. Someone complained that their luxury vacation wasn't luxurious enough compared to the resort down the beach. They were at a luxury resort. The resort down the beach was also a luxury resort. Both were luxurious. The other one was just different. They felt they'd purchased the wrong luxury. They demanded compensation because a different luxury existed. The universe had failed to make theirs the only nice thing. Number 47. A hotel guest complained that the room had air conditioning. They found it too cold. They turned it off. Then they complained that the room got too hot. They turned it back on. They complained repeatedly, each time expecting different results from the same action. They left a one-star review saying the climate control was unpredictable. Cause and effect are not unpredictable. You control the thermostat. Number 48. Someone on a guided walking tour complained that the tour involved walking. Walking tours involve walking. They'd paid for a walking tour. Then they were shocked and offended when walking occurred. They asked if they could take the walking tour on a bus. That would be a bus tour. Walking tours are distinguished from bus tours by the presence of walking. The tour continued on foot. Number 49. A traveler complained that a one-star hotel was not five-star quality. The one-star hotel was 1 star. 1 star is the grade. They'd paid 1-star price for 1-star accommodations. Then they complained they'd received 1-star accommodations. They wanted 5-star quality for 1-star price. The universe explained that's not how pricing works. They complained about capitalism. Number 50. Someone complained that their vacation was too scheduled. They'd booked a tour package where every day had activities planned. They complained there was no downtime. They asked for a refund because the tour was too organized. Then they complained that unplanned time wasn't useful because I didn't know what to do. They wanted planned spontaneity. They wanted structure without structure. Number 51. A guest at a beachside restaurant complained that the food tastes like salt. It's a beachside restaurant. The ocean sprays salt. The air has salt. Food absorbs salt from the air. They ordered fresh fish. Fresh fish absorbs ocean air. The saltiness was the authenticity. They complained the restaurant was ruined by salt. They could have gone inland. They didn't. Number 52. Someone booked a language immersion trip and complained that nobody spoke English. Immersion means immersed. You're supposed to be immersed in the language. That's what immersion means. They complained they couldn't communicate without English. The entire purpose was to communicate without English. They wanted immersion without immersion. The locals did not suddenly become fluent in English for this person's comfort. Number 53. A traveler complained that a famous landmark was crowded. Famous landmarks are famous because many people want to see them. Many people wanting to see something makes it crowded. They complained that their experience was ruined by other people looking at the same thing. They wanted to be the only person experiencing the famous landmark. They suggested the landmark implement a reservation system just for them. The landmark receives 10 million visitors annually. Number 54. Someone complained that they got sunburned on a sunny beach. The beach is sunny. Suns produce rays. Rays produce burns if you don't prepare. They complained about the sun. They asked the hotel if the sun could be less intense. The sun is a nuclear fusion reaction. It has one intensity. They could have worn sunscreen. They didn't. The sun continued burning. Number 55. A couple at an Italian restaurant complained that the pasta was too Italian. The restaurant is Italian. Pasta is Italian. Italy created pasta. They wanted Italian food that was less Italian. They asked the chef to Americanize the recipes. The chef declined. They left a review saying the restaurant didn't understand American taste. The restaurant understood Italian cooking. American taste was not invited. Number 56. Someone complained that a 5-star hotel was overpriced. 5-star hotels are expensive. That's why they're 5 stars. They cost money. Specifically, a lot of money. They knew the price before booking. They paid the price. They stayed at the 5-star hotel. Then they complained about the price of the 5-star hotel. They wanted luxury without the luxury tax. Luxury requires expense. That's what makes it luxury. Number 57. A tourist complained that their hotel room had a bed in it. There was nowhere to sit except on the bed. The bed was a sleeping bed. For sleeping, not for sitting during the day. There were no chairs. They complained that the room had no living space. The room had a bed for sleeping. Sleeping is living. The room had accomplished its function. They wanted a studio apartment for the price of a hotel room. Number 58. Someone complained that their 5-day vacation was not long enough 1 hour into the first day. They'd experienced 4% of the trip. They complained that the vacation wasn't working. They demanded an extension added for free because they were moving too fast. Time exists at a set rate. The 5 days would happen in 5 days. Complaining didn't accelerate personal experiences into that time. Number 59. A guest at a beachfront hotel complained that the ocean was there. The hotel is beachfront. The beach touches the ocean. The ocean is the point. They complained the ocean was too wet and too present. They asked if the hotel could relocate the ocean or install a buffer. Neither is possible. They paid for beachfront specifically. Beaches have ocean. That's where the beachfront is. Number 60. Someone took a trip during peak season and complained about crowds. Peak season is when most people travel. Most people traveling creates crowds. This is deterministic. They complained the experience was ruined by tourists. They were a tourist. Their presence also ruined the experience. Everyone was ruining everything. The destination remained unchanged by their frustration. Number 61. A traveler complained that a country's culture was too different from home. The point of traveling is experiencing different culture. Different culture is different. They wanted their home country's culture but in a different location. They wanted a theme park version of another country with all the comfort of home. The country did not install this. They felt victimized by the existence of difference. Number 62. Someone at an upscale resort complained that the staff was too attentive. They couldn't sit for 5 minutes without someone asking if they needed anything. The resort was trained to provide excellent service. Excellent service is attentive. They wanted excellent service that was also unobtrusive. They wanted staff to know what they needed without them saying anything, but also never approach them. They wanted mind reading and invisibility simultaneously. Number 63. A traveler complained that their vacation came to an end. The vacation lasted the duration of the vacation. They knew it had an endpoint when they booked. They'd purchased specific dates. Those dates ended. The trip was over. They complained that the vacation went too fast and demanded a refund because time had moved at its normal speed and their vacation had lasted exactly as long as they'd paid for. The calendar did not negotiate. What we've witnessed here is something remarkable. A catalog of people trying to negotiate with reality itself. These complaints share a common thread. They're not about genuine service failures or legitimately unforeseen circumstances. They're about expectations so unmoored from how the world actually operates that you wonder if these people believe they're the main character in a universe specifically designed for their convenience. The pattern is unmistakable. Someone chooses an experience, arrives at that experience, and then acts shocked when the experience contains the exact elements that define it. A rainforest had rain, a waterfall was wet, a crowded destination had crowds, a vacation ended, as if the universe was supposed to have special exceptions installed just before their arrival. The scariest part? This isn't about stupidity. These are people with money and time and the resources to travel. They're articulate enough to complain. They're determined enough to demand refunds. They're just completely disconnected from causality. They've somehow convinced themselves that wanting something different should automatically make reality different. Here's what I want from you. Think of your own terrible vacation. Now ask yourself, was it actually ruined by circumstances beyond anyone's control? Or was someone expecting the world to function on a completely different set of rules? And more importantly, be honest. Were you ever that person? Even once? Like the video, subscribe if you survived this catalog of human entitlement, and comment with your own vacation horror story. I promise someone out there paid for weather they didn't like too.